Thank you for pressing play. I appreciate you being here. This is the Lead with Your Heart podcast. I'm your host, Jason Johnson, and I talk to leaders all around the world. It's a heart-centered leadership movement. Um, the world is constantly changing. We're constantly evolving and adapting, and I think it's important to not just be innovative with technology, but to be innovative with the human spirit and the way we connect with each other. And I can't be more pleased to bring my next guest to you. His name is Roland Ong, and he's coming to us from Malaysia. And I connected with Roland a couple of months ago through a mutual contact. And I would be remiss if I did not mention Stephen Bouger. He has been a wonderful human in my life, and he's the human connector. He has connected me with so many wonderful people. And so Roland and I, along with Stephen and another gentleman in a different parts of the world, we connect every couple of weeks and talk about leadership. And I love the fact that we're in different countries because it gives us a diverse perspective, and the one commonality is that we're human beings and
Mm.
we all have the same human wants. And so without further ado, Roland, welcome to the Lead with Your Heart podcast. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Hi, Jason. I'm glad. Very honored to be with you.
Yeah, and I appreciate this time thing, right? Like
Mm.
it's 6:30 a.m. where I'm at. And what time is it there?
7:30 in the evening.
7:30
Yeah.
p.m.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, Roland, just introduce yourself a little bit,
Mm. Mm.
specifically around your upbringing and what connected you to wanting to be more involved with leadership.
You're right. Well, growing up, there's a lot of exposure to self-development, self-discovery. I grew up kind of heavy on the weight side. And every time there's a physical exercise or assessment, I'll always come out last. And people were laughing at me, and it was kind of a self-discovery. And later on, when I connect the dot looking backwards, it's like every adversity is not necessarily bad. It is good for our discovery. So I discovered myself, how to pick myself up, how to reinvent myself, redesign myself in terms of my mind. And that sort of like built a kind of resilience, growing up with a resilient. But that doesn't mean that I become from soft to a hard person. The softness is still inside me, but that softness turned to feel, to redesign and reposition myself, if I may say that. So I become competitive. But the thing is, Jason, I became competitive with myself and not with others. You know, I, yeah, you're nodding your head. So we're on the same page, right?
Yeah, I
So
love,
I,
yeah, I love
yeah,
that.
go ahead. Yeah, so I became very competitive with myself, and I do things to prove to myself that I can do it. And in my thoughts is that then people will know it. I need to know it first, and then people will indirectly know about it. And if they don't know about it, it's fine. But most important thing is me. Now, at the age of 7 to 9 years old, I have this thought already. And I remember very distinctly when we went to a bookstore, me and a group of my friends, they would buy comics. And I would reach out for Stephen Robbins, the management book. At 9 years old, I really do not understand most of the words in there, let alone read and understand it. But I love the charts, the colorful charts, the inner circle, the outer circle, those management models, and I fell in love with it. And then my very first motivational tip was Zig Ziglar. That was when I was like 12 years old. I saved up money to buy the tape, and it was called If You Help Enough Others Get What They Want, You Will Get What You Want. Zig Ziglar. I'm sure you're familiar with that title. And from there, it
Yes.
just went on. The notion or the spirit of Kaizen, self-improvement, self-learning. Of course, there's always up and down. I know I've one, two, three steps forward and then one step back, two step back, and then we move forward again. So I grew up in that environment. My parents were extremely supportive. They were extremely supportive that we were free to really establish ourselves, and also they were understanding. They provided space for me to make mistakes and to be myself, and that's how I grew up into the world. Um, Competitiveness with myself, constantly learning and improving. There's no failure, just learning principles like this, and I catch it in a very, very early age. And I'll end with this, Jason. Um, Often in training coach leaders and team members, I often get this question. So a leader can they be taught, or they need to be born with it, some talents? And I would say 30% of the leadership personality is inborn, but 70% you can learn the techniques and apply it. Because there are certain things as a leader, your personality, your characteristics, your attitude, your thoughts. It's sort of like it's very organic. And I'm sure we can, I will explain a little bit more or in depth as we go along this podcast. And we can discover, you can discover my journey, why I said so, 30%, 70%.
Yeah, thank you for that, Roland. I love a lot of things that you just said, and the continuous improvement. And you mentioned Kaizen, a Japanese term. Kai meaning good, and Zen. I mean, Kai meaning change, and
Yeah,
Zen meaning good. This continuous
yeah.
improvement, and gosh, just you know, you mentioned being in competition with yourself
Yeah.
and growing. And I've been in corporate America for 25 years, and as a leader or a general manager of different locations across the U.S., um, I would often have leaders ask me, "Who's your biggest competition?" And I would always tell them, we are, the
Mm.
team. And he would say, no, 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 no. Who in the market is your biggest competition? And I said, well, we are, right? It's this constant kind of looking at how are we today, and
Mm.
how can we be better tomorrow?
Yes.
And yeah, I love that. You in our connection, you sent a video
Mm.
of a football player that was doing this death crawl right across, and had somebody on his back, and it's talking about being very present in the moment. At least my takeaway from it was being very present in the moment and not thinking
Mm.
about how far you have to go.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, a friend of mine in the UK, Ryan Hartley, just did a half marathon, and he fasted for 3 days prior to doing his marathon. And I asked him about his experience, and what that meant. And he said, as he got towards the end, his mind started to go like, I have one more mile or two more miles. And he had to disconnect from that thought process, because when he started to think that, he was in this place of started to become in this place of tiredness, But then he said,
mm,
if I just focus on the moment and focus, we were talking about focusing on, your rhythm and your breathing and being very
yes.
present. He said, the finish line will come to me.
Mm,
And I was so inspired by that. And it's something that I'll never forget that part of the conversation. And it makes me think of, some of the things that you do, right? Like just don't worry about it. Well, let's just,
yeah.
how are we being right now?
Mm,
And
that's right.
yeah, and you were talking about your the inner circle and the outer circle. Will you
Mm,
elaborate a little bit on that?
yeah, yeah. I think the inner circle is our thoughts, our values, our beliefs, and our behaviors. It's all about us, our inner self. And then once we have that right, and then we can then bring ourselves into the world when we interact people, then that's into the outer circle. So a person who knows himself or herself, inner self-wise, they are secure. They are competing with themselves, for example. They are not competing with others. They are comparing themselves with the year before or the months before and not comparing themselves with others. So for me, in my experience, in my journey, and that is the purest form of improvement. We improve for we improve on ourselves in order to bring goodness into our family, community, workplace, and even the nation, you know. So the inner circle is about us, the inner self. And the outer circle is how do we bring our inner self or introduce ourselves into the world and interact with the world. Now, the interesting thing is, Jason, and I borrow this a lot of my principles from my Chinese background and philosophy as well as Japanese philosophy, is that when we bring ourselves to the world, we add on to the beauty of the world around us. Right? So we bring a flavor. Jason, you bring a flavor to your family and to your workplace in terms of your personality, your thoughts, your behaviors, your emotions. Those are canvas that we paint it, with our personality. And I it's I mean in modern terms we call it diversity and inclusion. Diversity, for example. And in Buddhism, you see them putting a bunch of flowers where there's a lot of different type of flowers and different colors. And that is to remind, my sister taught me this, that is to remind us that our community is built from many different characters. And then in terms of, if I were to relate it to leadership, is that when we are in a team, it's like that bowl of flowers. There are so many types, so many kinds of personality, people from so many backgrounds. And you look at it, it's beautiful. And the scent that it gives out is even more beautiful. So if we look at teams that way, it's non-threatening. In fact, it is a joy to work with them.
Beautiful. Yeah, how we
Mm.
all bring something to
Yeah.
this
Mm.
collectively we come together, right? And
Mm.
and so
Yeah.
I love that. I love that perspective.
Mm.
Um, you I was looking at your website and
Mm.
I took a little quote from it. You said, "To be a good leader, first be a good follower." And listening to you talk about your inner circle, right? You
Yeah.
That is about self-development. And
Mm.
obviously we have influences outside that we reflect on,
Mm.
and how can I become this better human, this more uh, pure and authentic individual. And so I love that quote: to be a good leader, first be a good follower.
Mm. I think it dawned on me one day when I was working as a support staff. And I always have aspirations, Jason. I think it's always great to have an aspiration or a goal, what you want to become in 3 years, in 4 years, in 5 years. However, whenever I have a goal, I set it and I put it in my unconscious mind. But what I focus on a day-to-day basis are the process, the things I need to do to get to that goal. And it just came naturally to me, you know. So focus on the process to achieve that goal. And because of me focusing on the process itself, and I have a learning heart, I have a learning mind. Everything that I watch, everything that I hear, I listen to, has potential to teach me and enhance my process so that I get to that goal. Like believe it or not, it's like when I was growing up, Western was my favorites. The sheriff, and you have the lead sheriff, and then one of my favorite Western was High Chaparral, where the family unit and camaraderie, the togetherness. You protect me and I protect you. And that sort of like formed my mind. I said, this is great, this is the way things should be, and there's also, Batman and Robin, and then those are the leadership role that I grew up in. And I would save my canteen money when I was studying, to save the money and to buy little figurines like soldiers and cowboys, and I would play them and I would act out the scenes with them, and they became like my team, my friends,
Yeah.
and that's sort of like developed that way, and I found myself when I was like promoted. Then I joined the bank as a support staff, and then after 7 years, then I was promoted. I was spent about 18 years in the bank, and I was promoted to a branch manager, right? And I caught myself asking, how did you solve this? How did you lead them? And where did this idea come from? Jason. And then when I was reflecting, I always connect the dots. Where did it come from? It's like it's so natural, it's just like flow out. When there's a problem, I say, okay, we'll do this, and then I'll cover you with this, and you cover him with that. And it just came off. I don't have to think that hard. And then I realized and I became aware, I attributed it to all the years of following the process of having a goal, put it behind my mind, focus on the daily process, be open, have an open heart and mind to learn, to improve on the process to achieve the goal. So when we focus on the process, the goal will come. Just like your friend says, just focus on the step by step and the finish line will come.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Some of your values, Roland, are honor,
Mm,
serve, grow, and reinvest.
mm,
And that just it makes so much sense with listening to you speak about
mm,
self and others. So
mhm,
internally and externally, right? Honor, serve, grow, and
mm,
reinvest
mm.
because it's that continuous process,
Yes.
right?
Never
What?
ending.
Yeah, never ending. Um, you also talk about um, how conflict is good.
Mm,
What
yeah.
what conflict or in your life has been impactful that has shifted your mindset, your thought process, and has influenced you?
Mm. Um, yeah, when I was in the bank, there were 26 branches. And like it or not, people will group you as you're the blue-eyed guy of this senior leader, and you're the another cam, and then they will like categorize us as you are with him and you are with her, kind of thing. That I never get that. I never get that, because for us is that we are there to serve. We are there to serve our leader. And if we're not serving, why are we there? You know, we must have a sense of purpose and a sense of loyalty as well. I think that is very, very crucial. Loyalty not only towards the person, but to the objectives, to the goals of the business unit, of the business, even the whole conglomerate. You know, what is the purpose of that company that we work for? And then we need to align our personal purpose to the organizational purpose, right? Be it the profits, be it developing the people, be it like maintaining or lowering costs, whatever it is, the strategy, we need to honor it. And on a spiritual level, honor God, honor the higher being, higher purpose, whatever anyone calls it. I'm okay with that. But for me, personally, it's honor God with whatever we do, so that when we do it at the highest standard to honor Him, to honor God, or people can say a higher power in a neutral way. And then once we honor, we have that honor is our guiding light, our standard of delivery, right?
Mm.
And make sure that it is good. It is good for people. And then we will grow. We will grow the business. We will grow the business. And then once we've grown the business, and then we have all whatever income we have from the business, we need to reinvest into the business and the people.
Yeah, that's so good. What does um what does compassion look like for you in leadership with the team?
Mm. Um, Compassion is when we feel a deep sense of connection to our team members' needs and their concerns. That is compassion. And I want to expand it to our clients, our leaders, our peers, and to everyone within our business sphere or work sphere, that we need to have compassion by knowing what they need and what are the challenges that they are facing. I was accused of by other leaders saying that I'm too people based. Jason, too people based, and you're too soft. But then, but then we had two, if I may call it, award for Model Business Unit of the Year, 2 years running, because of our results. And they even did two full interview with me. How did I do it? And I said, no, it's not how did I do it, it's how did we do it, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
I
this inverted triangle in my mind. You know, it's not the leader that's sitting on the top and everyone's at the bottom supporting you. No, 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 no. It's the other way around. It's inverted. I'm at the bottom supporting the team and say, what do you need? How can I provide? Let's work together.
yeah,
And the happiness of them working is more important than my own happiness, because I know when they are happy working, the results will come. Sorry,
yeah.
Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah, we share that. We share that
Mm,
philosophy. For me, success was always about happiness and
yes.
supporting our people, because I think happiness, it's a higher vibrational frequency,
Yeah.
and people are more engaged
Mm,
when they're in this place of happiness. And frankly, it's our God-given right to find
mm,
happiness and joy and dignity in life.
mm, mm,
And so that's always been my mission as a leader, is to help people with that. And
mm,
not unlike your story, it also, that leadership style for me produced um, positive uh, financial results for the company and
mm,
organization. And they would also
mm.
say, "How did you do that?" And I too have been accused of being too people focused, too soft, but yet the results show up differently. So
Yes.
I thank you for showing up in the world the way you do, Roland. Um, it's absolutely beautiful. Um, yeah, yeah. And what's a simple way to build that connection in the
Mm.
workplace?
Mm. I think one of the most significant ways is that when I walk, I observe. If let's say I see a bunch of them seated at a cafe, I don't shy away. I walk towards them, I sit down, I become part of them. There's no leader, follower, no, they're just colleagues, right? So we talk, I listen to them. And when I can, I take mental notes. And then when I get back to the office, I would find ways to implement changes. So whatever they say is is done without even referring to them. And the element of surprise, it's so happy to watch, you know. One of them will come and say, "Boss, you did that." First of all, I didn't like people calling me boss. No, I'm not your boss. We are colleagues. It so happened that I am the coordinator. Right. So and they will say, "Oh, what you did that?" I say, "Yeah, yeah, I heard what you said." And the second thing is that I have this principle of 5-95. 5% of my income, my pay, need to be reinvested into my team in order to secure my 95%, right? So when I like my state just now, when I see them, I sit down with them, I eat and drink with them, and I'll pay the bill, I foot the bill. Because 5% of my income needs to be reinvested. And this is how, and also the last example is that we need to be aware as leaders. I was very aware that a person's demeanor when they come into the office is like that. And one day they come in very different. And that raised a flag in my mind that says that something's up. Let me connect with this person. And then in private, when I connect with them, they will share that out. Their husband has this problem and they have these family issues and all this thing. And that will come to play to see how I can support them. Uh, I also, connecting the dots, I also know that I have this I would say ability, this natural tendency to notice these things because I'm a highly sensitive person. HSP, very highly sensitive. Well, I got this plus and negative points. But let's talk about the plus points for now. And I tell you what my mom told me before she passed on, and that really enhanced also my personality and my leadership. So the sensitivity is so crucial as a leader. I will call it objective sensitivity. It's not sensitivity and then you get carried away by your senses, but it's more of like sensitive enough to make the right decision objectively to ease the situation so that everyone's happy. So
Yeah.
the idea here is to, if I were to put it this way, our role as a leader is to create the right environment for our followers to function. It's just like a plant. You make the environment, the air, the temperature, the soil, the water content, and whatever, that helps a plant to grow. Provide that, and then the plant will grow. So the team will grow, so that the team functions so well that the results, maybe most times, will exceed the results required.
Yeah, it really is about the environment
Yeah,
and cultivating that environment so
yeah.
that the conditions are right. Because you're 100% right, that these people in the workplace are humans first.
Mm.
So you talk about, or we hear the phrase, people first leadership, people first, focus, and they're people, comma, first.
Mm. Mhm.
And when we start to see them as people first who happen to do certain jobs at the workplace, then it strengthens that connection and that bond that you talk about and brings
Mm,
us together as a cohesive unit.
yeah.
And so your mother was a wise woman.
Yes. She is. When she passed, before she passed, we had a conversation, and a very significant message that she gave was, to me personally, was don't be too sensitive. And that brings that, let us go into a negative side. Sometimes when I'm too sensitive, whatever people say or do, it affects me. Sometimes affect me very deeply and for a long periods of time. And being a mother, she knows, right? Our mothers know best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes I found myself, how did you know all this? They say that, hey, I gave birth to you. Of course I know. And
Mothers do know.
mothers do know, yes, yes. So my mom is the adventurous one. My dad is more of a disciplined kind of guy, go to work every day, bring home the paycheck. But my mom is the innovative type, handling the budget. You got to be innovative to handle the budget.
Yes.
And she has a very strong business mind. And she used to say, I wish that I had the opportunity to run a business. I think it would be great. I think my leadership, my leadership one comes from both of them. My father is the silent leadership style. He was a leader in the army. So he has a group, bunch of people really look up to him. And my mom is the entrepreneurial one. And whenever she talks, she makes so much sense. So both of them I have both of them. And I'm blessed with both of them, their personality in me. And I think it gives me a very well-rounded leadership style.
Yeah, we have so many similarities.
Mm,
Um, and it sounds like, with your influence, you talked about 30%, 70% or 30,
mm,
70.
mm,
And, as a 9, 10, 11, 12-year old,
mm.
when your friends were reading comics and you were interested in Zig Ziglar, um, it sounds like that maybe you're in that 30% range of somebody who naturally becomes a leader. So you want to talk about your 30/70?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think 30% is my personal ambition, to decide how I want to create my career, for example. Or when I was in St. John's Ambulance, it's a like Red Cross Society, and we have this team that we went for competition. I have my ideas. How can we excel? How can we win awards by doing it this way and doing it that way? And it was this I would say it's like a burner, burner of passion and ideas. And whenever I dive into a competition or a challenge, that burner will go full blast. The creativity, the determination. Also caught myself saying that nobody's going to tell me what I can and cannot achieve. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. From a young age, it was that. I think it could be a mechanism which I developed when I was struggling to like comparing myself to my friends who can run faster, can do pull-ups more than me. I can't even do one, Stephen. I mean, I can't even do one, Jason, sorry. Jason, because I I just couldn't, too heavy. So yeah, so basically it's a discovery of ourselves. And I tried teaching this to others, the 30%. Some catch it, some don't see it. And that's sort of like, then I took a step back. I took a meta position and look at it and say that, yeah, there's some people, probably their background, their mentality, their thoughts are not there. And I like to quote this. I read it online, and I don't know whether it happened, but it's lovely. It's about Mother Teresa uh, being interviewed by this reporter, and the reporter asks, "So do you pray out? How do you talk to God?" He says, "Well, I pray." What do you tell God? I said, "Tell God? No, I listen." Oh, okay. So what did God tell you when you pray? God tells me, no, God listens. And when he said, but how do you pray and like that? And Mother Teresa said, if you do not understand that, then it's very difficult for me to explain to you.
Yeah, I am
So that's
smiling.
exactly my point. That's
Yeah,
exactly my point.
I'm sitting here listening and I'm smiling because uh, she's listening to God and God's listening to her,
Yeah. And
right?
that's a conversation.
Hmm.
So if
Yeah,
if we can't understand that, how is she going to explain it to us?
yeah, it's beautiful.
So that 30% is in this context, you know.
Mm,
And then the 70% is learned, past tense, is learned. So we
mm,
learn this and we see this guy doing it this way, or he presents it this way. It's more convincing. Example, present the pinpoints first and then the solution comes later. These are the things that we can learn. But that 30% is organic. And I'm not
mm.
saying that you cannot learn at all, but once in a while we'll find someone that is the same frequency as us, Jason. And then once one or two words come out from us, they get it. They get it. And
Yeah,
it's not so many, it's very rare. Uh, don't get me wrong. I'm not basking in my own glory. I'm just matter of factly stating this as a fact that I know, because of my organic growth and all the experiences that I went through. It, at that one time, it seemed messy, Jason, messy is like so much muddle up together, and it's like becomes like a wow, sticky, gooey thing. I don't know. I think New Orleans, they have this dish called gumbo where they throw everything into it.
yeah. I
But
love
when you taste
gumbo.
it, yeah,
I love
I haven't
gumbo.
tasted it before, but when I look at it, wow, it's really a mixture of all things. But it tastes great, you know. So I would say to our listeners is that don't be discouraged by one or two events in our lives. All this becomes our gumbo in life, and at the end of it, when we taste it, it tastes great. Just have faith that it will all turn out well, whether it's financial or whether it's like leadership challenges or even being a follower challenges, whatever it is, it will work out. And it worked out in my life.
Yeah, life is messy. And,
Mm.
we have these moments that sometimes feel very defeating, but
Yeah,
those are our biggest opportunities to listen to
yeah,
ourselves
yeah.
and listen to God and
Mm.
really, what does this moment mean for me?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because that's, you know, uh, the term growth is in discomfort.
Mm. Yeah,
That's where resilience happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the eagles, how they train the youngins and all they take care of themselves, they'll break their beaks and then let the new beak grow. Then it's sharper, it's more functional. And they'll
Mm.
they'll do their nest high up on a cliff, and they can push the youngins off the cliff so the youngins build the strength in their wings so that they can fly. So if we just look at nature, we can learn so much. Trees, I teach this in my leadership program. I say that we want to handle our stress, go to the forest, go to those trees, because trees let off chemicals. They call phytoncides. They will exchange chemicals to repair each other, and so the roots happen that way. And then when we walk in the woods, we inhale these phytoncides and it becomes an antioxidant for us to heal ourselves. So go to nature and we can see so many of these principles, how we should think, how we should feel, what decision we should make, what behavior we should have in order to flow in this environment, to make everything grow, rather than chopping the trees down, meaning rather than chopping people down, build it up, build up everybody. I'm not saying that as leaders, we need to do something unpopular as well. When we need to reprimand with love, we reprimand. And I do reprimand people when it is required. But I reprimand with love,
Yeah.
tough love, I call it. It's
Yeah.
unpopular, but I always have this saying as well, Jason. Maybe it's great to introduce it here. Be effective as a leader. Don't be popular. When we want to be a popular leader, when we see people that needs to be reprimanded, we don't reprimand them. So, but when we are effective, we will do the necessary, whether to reprimand, to edify, we do it because we want to be effective leaders to create an effective team.
Yeah. I love that. Because you can have these difficult conversations with
Mm,
compassion and love,
mm. Yeah.
because, we're thinking about uh, almost, we're like this rehabilitation, right?
Mm,
like we're thinking about after this conversation, am I leaving this individual with something to help them
mm,
be better? Or am
yeah.
I just addressing the behavior in the moment,
Mm,
right? Like we
mm,
shouldn't, or we should address the behavior, not the person, because
mm,
look, I lead with love and compassion, but am I like that 100% of the time? No, I'm human. I'm a flawed creature.
yeah.
I have my moments.
Mm,
And unfortunately, with employees, they get their moment as addressed, but that's not who they are. It's who they
mm,
were in that moment. And it gives them an opportunity when you have a conversation with love and compassion, to allow them to, kind of think about that moment and realize that yes, I can be better, or I can do better,
yeah. Yeah.
um, and just show up
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah. As you were mentioning that, this story came up to mind. There's a tribe in Africa, because they stay in a very close-knit community. If one of the young ones, whether female or male, did something wrong, this is what they will do. They will put this person in the middle and surrounded by the community members. And all of them will tell him or her all the good things they see in him or in her. And it melts them and they turn over a new leaf.
Mhm.
Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful,
It's
isn't it?
it's very beautiful.
Beautiful,
That's very
isn't it?
beautiful.
Yeah. So on one-on-one basis, like as a leader, that's often what I do. I'll just say, you've been great. You do this and then that, and then I did. Yeah. So when I observe you doing this, what thought process, what were you thinking about, and how can I, or most times I use, how can we do something about it?
Mm, that's
Like
powerful.
involve, yeah, engage him, not tell him or her, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to mark up, man. No, it's like, what can we do about it? How would you like me to help you to do it? And it's like melt this person, melt him and her defenses, his defenses, so that we can address the issue.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that is part of the 30%, Jason, that I talk about, because there are some leaders who say that no, that would be a waste of time, and they will go on a different trajectory, and that's purely their choice. But what I'm saying is that if people see that and they resonate with you while you're telling that story, let's say, and then you know that guy has it.
Mm. Roland, thank you so much for leading with your heart. What is
My
it?
pleasure.
Yeah. And
Wonderful.
as we wrap this up, what
Yeah.
is, a couple things. What is it that you want to leave in this world, your legacy? What is it that you would like people to know?
Um, I've been doing a lot towards this legacy by passing it on. The leadership, the wellness. There are two branches, two blocks of it. One is the holistic wellness, my knowledge and my practices about holistic wellness, and my practices and my attitudes about leadership development. I've been passing it on, passing it on to people who are ready to receive. So I got a couple of mentoring groups going on. And ultimately, I would like to see a better world. To me, a better world for me was in the 70s and the 80s, where there were competition, but they were very gentlemanly done. There's more community-based technology. It wasn't so invasive. How do you call it? Invasive. It's not
Yeah.
so. It's not so distracting. It's just limited to dialing telephones. There's no gadget in the hand,
Yeah.
and a lot of interaction, a lot of meaning that comes up from friendship. And when you go walks, runs together, picnics together, and you spend time listening to each other. So this human connection, because I'm driven by this experience of some of my friends who are pastors in the church. At thousands of deathbeds, nobody talks about their assets. Nobody talks about their businesses, their profits and losses, but they talk about the relationship they wish they had sustained and the people they wish they had spent more time with. And that really resonated with me very deeply, because losing my parents, my siblings, it really drove home this point. So I think ultimately the legacy is to leave people with the right perspectives so that they can enjoy this journey much, much better, the journey of life.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you for being here, my friend. I've really enjoyed our conversation, and I think I'll end it on that note. Enjoying the
Thanks,
journey of
Jason.
life.
Thanks, Jason. It has been a pleasure.
And I will leave some links in the show notes if people want to connect with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason.